Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. In today's tutorial video, I wanted to go over how to create and use role templates inside Back on Stage. And sorry here, I'm having some audio difficulties here. Let's just get rid of this stuff. Just gonna cancel out of those, sorry about that. Okay, here we are. So within Back on Stage, as you know, you can book musicians for gigs very easily through our auto book process using the book roles part of the booking creator. So I'm just going to jump over to my screen here. So inside the booking creation process, if you open up your book roles tab here, in my example here, I've set up a 9-piece band. I've told Back on Stage that I need my rhythm section, horn section, vocalists, and a sound technician for this particular service. And as you can see here, I have my whole call list of players. So I have a few different options for drummers, a few different options for bass, and so on. So let's say, for example, I want to call Getty first for my bass player. I want to call Bernard first as my drummer. Maybe I don't want to call John at all. Maybe I need to pay Eric Clapton a little bit more, and so on. You can see how if you needed to do this every time you had a gig, this could get a little bit tedious. Obviously, this is probably still a lot easier than texting and emailing everybody manually. We are kind of the only system that does it this way, so we are sort of pioneering this a little bit. But this does make things a little easier for you, and to make it easier still, we've got templates that you can use on this page as well. And so that's what we're looking at today. If you scroll down to the bottom here and you click on this create a new template field, this will populate. You can enter a template name in here. You have to leave these roles and members and call orders selected, and then you want to check off if you want to use the auto book or have it remember the rate amounts as well. I don't know why you wouldn't want to do those. Those are pretty handy. And then of course, check that to make sure this saves as a new template when you go ahead and book the roles down below. That's just your final confirmation step there. So for example, how you can use templates in a couple different scenarios. Actually, before I mention that, I will mention as well that templates are specific to the service they're created within. So for example, if I have a 5-piece band service and I pull that up here instead, I'm not going to see the same templates as I do have here for my 9-piece band, because that's a whole different set of instruments and musicians and players. So it's a totally different call list. For that reason, the templates that you create within services are specific to those services. So as a couple examples here, you can see I've got my 9-piece. This is my in-town rate, and I mentioned here that I've got auto book turned on as well, so I can remember that. And then I've got an out-of-town template. So if we take a quick look here, my in-town template, for example, I've got 3 options at the top. I've got 5 options for my bass, 3 for my guitar, and so on. So 3, or that's 6 actually, 3, 6, 3. If I switch over to my out-of-town template, and notice everybody's rate is set at $400. If I switch over to my out-of-town template, now all of a sudden I've got less player options. In my particular case, there are a bunch of players that just don't like to travel, so I remove them from this version or from this template. And I put everybody's rate amount up to $500. It's an out-of-town gig. They get a little more to travel out of town. So that is just a couple scenarios of how templates might work. You can use these in all sorts of different ways for different types of gigs, different types of lineups. Maybe you've got an A team and a B team, that sort of thing. So kind of the world's your oyster, and it's up to your imagination how you use these. But that is how you would configure templates. And just make sure once you do have your bookings in progress, for example, if I go ahead and hit the book roles button here, in fact, I'll show you an example of how to just create the template first. So let's say, for example, just so we can see here, I'm going to swap Diane into my first call position there and put her rate up to $500. And I'm going to just save this as a new template here, test template. And when I go ahead and book roles there, that is going to set all those gig offers in motion. And now if I open up this page again, I can see that I now have that test template available to me in my drop-down list there. So that's pretty cool. If I Switch over to my in-town template again. You can see Diane's moved back down to the bottom of the list here because that's where she is on that template. And so one thing I wanted to point out is I had put all those gig offers in motion before. If I now come back and select a new template, it's going to overwrite everything I just did and sort of restart the whole process again. So be careful with that, with these templates if you have got things moving. They're kind of intended for you to just use them at the beginning when you start booking players for the gig. So unless you come in and plan to wipe everybody off the slate and start again fresh, I wouldn't recommend selecting a template here once you've actually got your musician bookings in progress. But now again here, if I recall that test template I just made, scroll down, you can see we've got Diane at the top of the list and 500, which is how I'd put her in that template previously. So I hope that makes sense regarding the templates here and how to use those when you are booking roles inside Back on Stage for your gigs. If you have any questions about this, the templates feature here really is kind of the first iteration that we've done for this feature. And like I said, it's kind of a new thing in the world. There's not really a whole lot of software out there that books people like this. It's a pretty unique way of doing things. So we're definitely open to your feedback. We are making some big adjustments to this this year in 2023, and we'll have lots of cool new features and layouts coming to this page. So hopefully those will all help you out. And if you have any other suggestions, please do let us know in the comments on these videos, or as always, hit us up in the chat down here inside the app, and we'd love to hear from you.